Broadcasting live from an undisclosed location somewhere beneath the New York Public Library, it's Ryan and Eric Don't Belong Here. Hello to everyone listening live on twitch.tv/Goblin Voice, and in the future, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Eric, here as always with my handsome and tenacious colleague, Ryan.
Pew, pew, pew.
Air horning it.
Pew, pew, pew.
We've also got a special, in addition to air horns, we've also got a special surprise. We're here with, or I guess I don't know.
We have more than air horns?
Yeah, oh, we got way more than air horns.
Oh, brother.
You've got some kind of magic egg, but we also have another magic egg. Our good friend from back in the day, incredible storyteller, wonderful comedian, all around just great human, and real fan of the occult, Dewey Morrison. What's up, Dewey?
I love that description, a real fan of the occult. Well, it depends what kind of mood the occult is in, you know? Sometimes I'm not a fan.
Yeah. I didn't mean to invite that in on you.
No, man, thanks for having me, and thanks for those kind words right back at both of you.
Yeah,
Aw,
sure.
wow, what just a nice group of boys here ready to get haunted.
This is, Dewey, we've got a perpetual tension here on the show, which is Brian is just super eager to be haunted or possessed or otherwise bothered by spirits, and I'm very afraid of them.
Dewey, where do you place yourself on that spectrum of wanting to be haunted versus very afraid of ever being haunted?
Well, I never ever want to be haunted ever again. It's happening.
Oh, that's the best possible answer.
Yeah, and I don't invite it. I guess there are such things as spiritual revelations that can be very happy on the other hand. But when it comes to like unwanted presences, boy, I'd tap out, never again.
Oh, Dewey, that answer is so fucking exciting. I'm like vibrating right now. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I want to give a little background to the listeners and the fans out there about why. I mean, obviously, we were just excited to have Dewey on the show because he's a friend, a great guy, hilarious guy, great storyteller, as I mentioned up top. But we met at our last job, and we kind of quickly I think, Dewey, I don't know if you remember exactly how it happened, but we quickly sussed out, I think, that the other person was deeply into some weird shit and like kind of started talking about it, especially too, because you were on the West Coast, I was on the East Coast. So our relationship was mostly like totally remote at that point. And we would just have these long calls, I'd book like a phone booth or whatever, like a conference room, and just like talk to you about ghosts and The Secret on company time for like 2 hours.
It really was. It was incredible. And on my end, I will always look back because I had like a corner office on the 7th floor on Sunset Boulevard, and I could see all of Hollywood and downtown LA out to the mountains, and it was just like all you can eat snacks and drinks and hot cocoa. It was the most unbelievable 6 months of my life. I couldn't believe it, man. And then I would be like done with you, and I'd be like, I'm gonna make a prank phone call and record it, and then like our boss would be like, hey, that was a good prank phone call. What?
It was a pretty incredible job for a bunch of underachievers.
It really was something. Very lucky.
I love the image of you in the corner office of like a beautiful California location, just talking to a crazed maniac from New York, asking you about spirits.
Just a beautiful cherubic boy, just red in the face, excited about ghosts.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think that excitement will probably mean when you die, you're going to turn into some sort of Casper situation. You know, you're just so eager to see what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's Dewey, I'm going to posit to you something Eric said a couple of shows ago. I asked Eric what's the first thing he would do when he becomes a ghost, and he said haunt a water park. Any thoughts on that?
Any of my thoughts on that? I want to hear Eric's perspective on that.
Well, my reasoning was just that you never see it coming. It's a bright summer day. Nobody ever suspects a ghost at a water park. There's a lot of good places to hide, like the tubes and the tunnels and things like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you could definitely like find out what guy was being a jerk that day and pants him in front of everybody.
Oh.
Exactly. A lot of pranks. A lot of pranks that can be played.
Yeah.
You could write stuff in people's like sunscreen. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck, there is a lot of like untapped potential at the water park.
That's what I'm saying,
I
baby.
can't believe it.
Yeah.
Guys, can we launch into a new segment that I'm really excited about?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna stop you.
I've been trying to get this segment off the ground for a little bit. Guys, it's time for News from the Weird. Welcome to News from the Weird, which is just, I don't know, I read a weird thing, or someone sent me something weird, and now I want to talk about it on our podcast about weird shit. I got my good friend Scott sent me over Discord an Etsy listing for, I shit you not, a $23,000 magic egg. The image of this magic egg, Eric, you saw it. It looked like just a normal, regular old chicken egg with a pentagram drawn on with like a very thin Sharpie. Not even the full ass Sharpie.
Honestly, it looks
just
like
the pen tip.
It looked like a photograph of an egg that someone then like uploaded into MS Paint and with the just like pencil tool drew a pentagram on this. Like, yeah. Incredible.
You know what's going to happen to that egg? You ever see that Garfield and Friends cartoon when there's that goddamn chicken who's stuck in a shell?
Oh,
that's how we got there.
Yeah. That's what the magic egg morphs into. That's right. Was there, Brian, let me ask you this question. Was there any description of the properties of this magical egg?
So here's the thing I do want to throw out there about this magic egg. I've been excited to talk about it for 2 days. And literally probably an hour before we went live, the Etsy listing is gone. It's been deleted. Which maybe that means someone has purchased this $23,000 magic egg. But man, here's the thing about this magic egg. I do not believe they were literally selling you an egg.
No, couldn't be.
Now, what they were promising was that this egg would hatch into an item that you desired.
Whoa.
You would either have to go to, I presume, Italy, because that's where the shop was listed. The shop, of course, was called Real Arabic Magic, which, I know things are real when real is listed in the title.
That's right.
No further questions there. But once you put down the down payment, the $23,000 down payment for the magic egg, you would then either have to travel, I presume, to Italy, or fly one of their masters out to you to perform a ritual on any old egg. The egg actually didn't matter. It would be the ritual that you performed on the egg.
Got it. So you were paying for the fact that they had done this ritual to an egg, but they're pretty versed. They could do this to any kind of egg.
You are Scott just sent me a message, dude. He's on it. He's got it. He already screen capped it. We have the listing here. Oh my God, Scott, you are the hero of Brian and Eric Don't Belong Here.
Wow. Live show comes through again. This
live
is
show comes through again, baby. I'm just going to read this item description to you straight up. Sound good?
Please do.
So now I'm just reading directly from the item description. We finally had the authorization from the Jinn to reveal this secret. A VIP service for ones who want more. No scam, no lies, no cheat. Which, strikes me as legitimacy.
Yeah.
We have the power to materialize in front of you a powerful magical item retrieved from the Jinn world, manufactured in another dimension. The power of this item cannot be compared to anything man-made. What can be retrieved? A. If you ask for a ring will appear in front of you. It will fit perfectly on your finger without any measurement. The type of ring and the kind of power will be decided by the jinns. The power will be channeled and optimized into the... So you can get they really seem hype on the magic ring is the thing.
Sure.
But if you were to wish for something that doesn't fit inside the egg, it will hatch into an animal. and then you have to catch the animal immediately, and then the animal will transform into the item. However, unless you don't manage to catch the animal, then you have to hope another egg will hatch a different thing, but that's not likely. Let's see what else is here. This is a unique opportunity for anyone that has the financial capability, a lifetime experience that will change forever the way you perceive the world. You will go home with an item or items that do not come from this world and with incredible powers. A real Arabic magic, the seller really wants to specify, as per Etsy's rules, I am selling this for entertainment purposes only. I am in no way implying that your life will be changed due to this reading. May peace and mercy and blessings of God be upon you.
Brian, can we talk to this shop owner?
We have to, right?
We have to talk to them.
Eric, you're,
Dude, this goes back to the whole original thesis of the show. Blue-collar workers in the occult. This guy's just a hard-working egg blesser.
Man.
You know?
You're right. We have to reach out. We have to at least reach out. So here's my question. This is obviously a scam. Or maybe not. You know what? I'm not willing to throw that down yet.
Well, it's not a scam because he put at the end, this is not real. Like, he's not even telling you.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, if you were to fly to Italy to meet one of their do you get ditched there? Because they're also letting you fly one of them out. Where does it break down once the money comes through?
It's a really good question. I hope if you fly one of their masters out to you, they just kind of like move in and hang. They're like, this is great. Just us now. We're just chilling.
All right. This. I think this is just the beginning of the fucking magic egg. I think News from the Weird, we're already scrapping it. We're just going to do a magic egg fucking segment.
Yeah, everyday magic egg check-in. We could have like different color-coded alerts, like depending on the magic egg status, you know?
All right. I
refresh me. It was 23. Did you say it was $23,000?
$23,000.
Right. We could just like hatch a magic rug at that rate, you know, and come on his own dime.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Well, our next move is we have to reach out and we have to hope that someone at Real Arabic Magic in Italy will speak to us.
I don't see why they wouldn't.
I guess that's the end of News from the Weird / Magic Egg Watch.
For now.
We'll keep everybody updated on whether or not they answer my email, which God damn it, I hope they do. For the the state of Arizona in our chat asks a great question. What if you wish for another magic egg?
That's a great question. It's got to be the classic "you can't wish for more wishes" kind of situation.
Right. You have to listen. Don't get greedy. Just ask for the magic fucking ring.
Exactly. Just get the ring.
I feel like Sorry, Dewey, go ahead.
No, I didn't say anything. It must have been a ghost on my end.
I could spend all night talking about this magic egg, but we can't do that.
I'm intrigued. So Dewey, up top, you were saying that you would never willingly endure another haunting.
That is correct.
You're implying that there was a preliminary haunting there?
Yeah, a couple.
Man, we wanted to open up kind of the floor tonight, keep it a little more general. We're just going to talk about ghosts and spooky stuff. If you are joining us here live at twitch.tv/Goblin Voice Tuesday nights at 9:00, you can type ! Call into the chat and get instructions on how you can call into the show and tell us your ghost stories. But in the meantime, Dewey, tell us everything about the hauntings you've experienced.
Well, I'm going to preface this with, if you are listening and you're into this stuff, you should check out the Bridgewater Triangle and the Hockomock Swamp, because that is where I grew up in the state of Massachusetts, pretty much like in the geographic center of this haunted region.
Oh, baby.
And so it's kind of funny, because one of my happy places, like if I'm really just need to try to cheer up, I'll literally read my book, Ghost of the Bridgewater Triangle, not because like of the scary parts of it, but because they're like describing the streets I used to walk down and hang out in like my old neighborhoods, and it feels like when I'm missing home, I'll read a ghost book. That's kind of crazy.
That's kind of what doing. The next time you're on the East Coast, will you give us a tour of your very haunted place you lived?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing.
One of my friends bought a house right in the swamp, in the Hockomock Swamp, and he showed me video of some pretty crazy stuff too.
Oh fuck!
Wow.
I'll tell that story first. I'll tell it because this is a wide phenomenon.
Yeah, I love it.
I wasn't there, but one of my best friends. I've known him since I was a baby. We played in the Irish punk band, the Gobshites, together. They're still a great band. They're torn, and he's with them. And
hell yeah,
I have one of his boys is my godson, and the three boys, they were all little kids, and my buddy, they were playing like this game where they were like, I probably just gave away like way too much personal information about this guy, but like they were playing this game, and they were just like dressed like they were pretending to be monkeys, and they were just jumping around like playing like chimpanzees, and really like getting wild in the house. So my buddy's wife was videotaping it. It was really funny to see. And when they examined the videotape later, they just played back their iPhone. There was glowing orbs playing with them. Like, what? So glowing orbs are a major, major part of Hockomock Swamp and Bridgewater Triangle lore. Mm-hmm. They're one of the staples with like the Pukwudgie and Bigfoot and probably like UFO sightings. I'd say glowing orbs might be the number one thing people talk about.
Wow. I mean, that is a general like ghost thing, and like that's what people lean on.
And you can tell it's not dust because they're making moves. They're making moves like they're playing, and it's really pretty cool. And they posted that video on their Facebook, and everybody was commenting and watching it. It was pretty crazy. It was like a lot of people have seen it and been like, wow, that couldn't be anything else.
Oh man.
What's so funny about that is that I feel like the main criticism that really skeptical people will level towards modern ghost phenomenon and stuff like that is like, well, everybody has an iPhone, like everybody can take a video, how come there's not just footage? But I feel like there's actually a fair amount of footage like you're describing in this story, just floating around.
It's like the UFO stuff. It's like hidden in plain sight. You have to kind of it's kind of like your whole life is your perception, and everything is just your consciousness. So like if you don't want your consciousness to go there, you're not going to let it go there, and
right,
that's okay. You still got to eat oatmeal and check the mail every day.
This is true.
The important things in life. So that was video of orbs playing with an Irish punk band.
Yeah, they were on stage drinking Guinnesses and stuff. It was crazy,
amazing. But you were saying you've experienced some hauntings personally.
Yeah, there's like I'll pick and choose because I have like 3 or 4 really really crazy ones.
The floor is yours, whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah.
This one,
wide open.
This one, I'll go to the most recent one. So, I was in I guess it was in the last 10 years. I was in my parents' hometown. I was in Taunton, Massachusetts. I love the woods there. There's no woods in LA. There's woods, but they're not good woods. And I was like, I went out alone in a late December day, like 2 p.m. in these woods. And these woods are called Rocky Woods, and they have tons of spooky ghost lore as well. It's in the Bridgewater Triangle. Lots of stuff that dates back to Wampanoag era and colonial times. And I went for this walk, and at the time these woods were completely undeveloped. There wasn't any houses for like a mile in every direction. And it was thick woods, and the day was getting dark. Sun was going down, and I'm walking through the woods, and I made it, I'd say 100 yards, 150 yards in. And you know how you like in the winter you can see the woods. Like there's no shrubs or blueberry bushes or anything. You can look in every direction. You can see what's going on.
Right.
So I'm out there pretty deep, and I heard a crunch, like a step that sounded identical to my step.
No.
So I stopped.
No.
And I look 360, nothing's around me. I take another step. I hear it matching me. It sounds about 10 feet away, coming at me.
No.
And I take 2 steps. I hear crunch, crunch. I'm like getting the chills now. So I'm like, I'll do one more step. I take one more step, crunch. And then I hear crunch. And I book it. I ran all the way.
Yeah,
to the
dude.
street. I ran all the way to my parents' house. And I was like, that was scary. So that's the beginning of the story.
Oh, boy. Oh, no. No.
At the time, I was staying at my parents' house in my old childhood bedroom. And there was a Casio keyboard from the 80s in this bedroom. It was my brother's from, like a tiny one. And this old keyboard, when you turn the power on, if there were batteries in or if it was plugged in, it would make a scale. It would go ring, like from bottom to top. And it hadn't been plugged in since 1995. This thing wasn't operational. It was sitting in my closet. At like 3 a.m, the thing goes ring. It does the scale. And I get out of bed and there's no batteries in it or anything. And I'm like, that was terrifying. I go back to bed. So the next day I wake up and I tell my parents and I tell my dad, especially because my mom's a pretty big believer, but my dad's a skeptic and he's an electrical engineer and he's probably an atheist. I don't know. I don't really think he has much going on. Like he just is very logical and not scared of things. He's like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put it on the kitchen table in the middle of the table. That way, if we know nothing falls on it, nothing rattles it, okay. And no Nerf football falls on it.
A decent experiment as far as I can tell, yeah.
So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm sleeping in the living room tonight. I'm never going to sleep in that bedroom again. I never did sleep in that bedroom ever again.
Really?
And then I go to bed. I fell asleep. I probably watched a lot of MASH, and I got nice and cozy, and I fell asleep. and at 3 a.m., I heard the thing click on and go ring, and I wake up. My dad hears it. He gets out of bed. I'm like, "You heard that?" He's like, "I heard it." And I don't even know what we did with it, like, because I was like, "This thing is such a cool toy. Like, let's just put it in the basement. I don't want to get rid of it." So that's the ending of the story. Is the next day I was like, "I'm going back to the woods. I'm going back to the spot, and I'm gonna tell this thing if you followed me home." And you were spooking me out with that thing. It's not funny. We don't like it. Just stay back in the woods. It's nothing against you. Just leave me alone. And then I walked back, and nothing happened ever again.
Wow.
It's I've heard a lot of. My wife has a couple of stories of like weird, spooky things that have happened, and has said a handful of times, "All right, I get it. Little spooked. We get it," and it stopped after that.
Wow. Yeah.
A story she's told a handful of times is she was just missing a scrunchie. She was staying at a hotel, and that apparently they had an old story about a little boy ghost who liked to play tricks, and she was looking for a scrunchie or a hair tie or something, was looking all over for it, and she just asked out loud, "Hey, if you took it, very funny, but I do need it back." And sure enough, it was on her fucking pillow.
Whoa. Yeah. That's crazy too, because that's not the type of thing that she would have missed.
No, exactly. She swears it was not there. We had another weird experience where we were staying at an Airbnb in New Haven, and we got a little spooked. Granted, we were, and I cannot stress this enough, high, but we were pretty sure I won't say there was a ghost, but we had a couple of weird experiences that we can't quite explain otherwise. And my wife politely asked, "Hello, we're a little scared," and nothing happened again.
Yeah. I do wonder if it's the type of thing. Let's just go full suspension of disbelief for a second, where it's like, if there is some kind of entity or intelligence there, it's like they kind of just want to hang, and maybe don't even know that they're not alive in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is,
It's
you know. Oh, no, sorry. Keep going.
no. I'm just always just kind of talking. Dewey, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I had another story that I don't know if we'll get into, but I had a one that I remembered from like 2 years ago, and I ended up talking to a medium, like a healer, after it, and it was like we talked for like 2 hours because he's in Idaho, and he told me about,
And that's
like,
how they do things in Idaho.
Yeah, he is a good dude. He is like it's actually he's like a yoga teacher and a healer,
Wow.
and then also a five-star chef during the
Wow.
summer.
Wow.
But
Do you think he would come on the show?
Yeah, definitely.
Hell
He's
yeah.
really talented, and it's his full time. You know, he makes a living doing it, and also Reiki healing. But he told me, like, you know, you have to be careful to invite these things in, because
That's what I say.
they will be in until you get him to go, you know. And then he also said, like, something that's truly scary is, like, sometimes something will invite itself, like mask itself as a playful thing like that, but it's actually something much worse. So that's why I was like, Eric, don't look for it, you know. You just
Yep.
Oh man, part of it. Oh,
if you want, I'll tell what story that.
please do.
Before we go, I do want to get to that. I was just curious in that last story, Dewey. What was your dad's reaction? Because you said he's like kind of skeptical, sort of like atheist sort of deal. When the piano started playing itself, like, what did he think about that?
He's a man of kind of few words when he's not doing a bit, but he was definitely like, the look in his eyes and his reaction was like, there was no doubt in my mind that thing has haunted or has some weird electrical energy going through it, because it's physically impossible. It needs, like, you know, it was a 1982 Casio. They needed about 12 like AA battery, you know, like D-cell batteries connected to
Yeah. You're gonna like crank it up.
Cranking up to a 4050, you know, minivan or whatever. Like, they're impossible to power without total juice. So he was like, yeah, this is something weird.
And just
like, let's get out of the house.
This had no power source, right? Like, no batteries.
Nothing. No, and we had lost the DC thing, like, you know, a long time ago when the 85 Bears won. We lost in a flood. No, but really
classic.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Man, that is. I would love to hear this story. That will maybe scare. I'm already a little, like, part of me is always just. I invite whatever in, and then we start talking about it. I'm like, well, now I'm scared.
Yeah. Well, this is I'm glad you're bringing this up. I feel like I have someone on my side, because this is my constant plead with Brian to please stop asking things to haunt us as a unit.
We do have I spent some money on a fucking premium ghost hunting spirit box, baby, and I invite anyone who wants to talk to me specifically.
It's definitely not just a branded radio with the scan feature.
How dare you? How dare you? This is a legitimate piece of ghost hunting equipment, Eric.
Yeah. But Dewey, go ahead. Sorry.
No. Keep going.
I was just going to say, per what you were saying before about what this medium told you, that's something I've heard as well. And even something maybe in that vein and equally sinister is the idea that sometimes something will not only present itself as something playful, but masquerade as, say, a personality that you knew or you know, to sort of get in the door a little bit, like it's your grandpa or whatever, but it's not. I don't know how that works, but it is spooky as heck.
You know, I had one. The only thing I was gonna say, I heard that that Kanye's new stem player also is a ghost radio built in.
Oh, baby.
So for $200 you can get, you know, high quality MP3s and talk to the other side.
That sounds about right.
What a deal.
Yeah.
Dewey, I'd love to hear that story you were teasing if you're game.
100%.
Okay. It's like these stories, we'll save the scariest for last, right?
Okay,
so this
great.
one, this was right before COVID. Somehow my family came to visit. They got a place in Newport Beach for a week, and it was really cool because I didn't end up seeing them for 18 months, and it was just like a nice treat. They decided to do it. So my brother and I are hanging out, and everyone's in bed, and like we're just watching TV, and like we see the lights just like turn on and off, like just the kitchen light on its own. My brother's like, "Did you see that?" And I was like, "Yes." And we were like, "That's definitely freaky." But we just kept hanging out. He went to bed. He had a bedroom. I was sleeping on the couch. That night, in the middle of the night, two very strange things happened.
Oh, baby.
I heard this like clicking and beeping noise that I didn't know what it was, but I just like, it woke me up, and it was like a mechanical clicking and beeping. And then I went back to bed, and I didn't know what it was. And at the same time, my mother had these terrible nightmares that I was getting, like I was yelling and my brother was yelling, and like maybe I was getting choked, and maybe I had them too. I forget about that, but somebody was having terrible nightmares about bad stuff happening in the apartment, in the rental. So the next morning I wake up, and you know what? My mom starts making coffee, and she starts clicking that coffee pot. The noise I heard, and no one was in the kitchen in the middle of the night. Something was rattling with the coffee pot buttons, like making click and stuff. So, it was the same situation where, like, I think the next night there was like nightmares again, or something weird happened. I forget the details now. But then on the third day, everybody was by the pool, and I just went back in. I was like, "Hey, man, like, I'm not, whatever's going on, we don't like it, don't do it." But it didn't stop. Like,
oh boy.
Not only that, like my mom flew back to Boston, and her car started freaking out. Like the car radio would go nuts on its own, and the windows would go up and down. And she was having these weird, and like other people witnessed them. And that's when I called that medium. I was like, "We got to talk about this one, dude." So he did a whole reading and a cleansing of it for me and stuff.
Wow.
We like found it and got rid of it. And
what was his take on? Like, what did he think it was? Did he have any insights about it?
You know, what he believed was that it was like something really young, like it might have not have been a human. It might have been he's like a very, very, very young spirit who did want to play and wasn't evil, wasn't bad. But when I talked to it that day, he said that's like, you probably gave it an invite. Got it. And it was like, man, shit. This is like, I haven't. It is kind of crazy to put this stuff on the record in public discourse, but that one was like, you know what's wild about most of my ghost stories? I would say all of them have been somebody else has witnessed it. At least one person has been part of it. I had a couple more, and they're all like, it's not like a dream. Like, it's never been just me. And I also say that because like my dad's a skeptic and my brother is like a lawyer. You know, like there are people who like, in my opinion, would deny stuff or say I'm making it up, and they would never make lies up. So like when they go, "Oh yeah, that happened," then that's pretty crazy.
Man, that is nuts.
Yeah.
So wait, before we move on, I just want to check in. So what ended up? So he did this. So the medium did this cleansing ritual or whatever. Do you know what he did?
I don't know. It was like, and it was honestly over the phone. I don't know. Like,
gotcha. Because
we talked a while, and we talked about like what he does, and it involves a lot of meditation, and like, you know, I couldn't really tell you. It's kind of funny because like some of them I remember a lot of the details to be exact, and this one it's maybe because it was so close to the beginning of COVID, like it kind of got. Like, I don't remember it as clearly.
No, of course.
Yeah, I remember it being horrifying in the middle of the night when that thing was going clicking.
Oh, that sucks, dude. And so you talked to this guy, and he did something, and then it's sort of like the stuff with your mom. Things just sort of went away.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dewey, I guess my question would be: so you've had a couple of paranormal experiences. Yeah. Does that like open you up does that open up like a curiosity part of your brain where you kind of want to like keep looking under, you know, the Band-Aid a little bit, or are you like good?
Yeah, it's a great question.
No, and I'll tell you why I'm good. I think that it could be like anything that's interesting. Like I love video games, or like it can be a thing that can consume your life and you can get addicted. Totally. And especially like, you know, like, I have a couple friends who are mediums, and that's their living. That's literally how they pay all their bills. And it's like, well, clearly it got to them. It consumed their, it's like their whole thing.
Yeah.
So I just don't want it to ever be like that.
Sure.
I think, and also like if you live with other people, like I've always either lived with a partner or roommates, and it's like you kind of want to protect them from anything weird happening in this place.
100%.
Actually, that's a huge part of it. It's like you don't want to we don't need it coming into the house.
No, that makes sense.
I think there's something interesting to it, and that you see this in books and stories like the Mothman prophecies and stuff, or like just this idea of high strangeness, or what some people term the phenomena or whatever, where it's like it keeps sucking you in by never, ever, ever giving you definitive answers. And there's a kind of like a super addictive rabbit hole you can go down in chasing it. I totally did. I totally hear that.
I can't believe how spooked I am about the dumb shit I do all the time now.
Dude, yeah. I don't know. I am wary of it. Even though we kind of joke about it and we're not sure how much we believe it or don't believe it, I honestly am. There's like a 40% of me that's like, I want to learn about it, but I'm afraid to mess with it.
I will recover. And my just general jackassery will come back to the surface, but I'm currently 100%. Eyeing the spirit box on my desk and kind of just wanting to put it in a drawer.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you a quick one on that about I know we're like nearing the end of this, so I'll speed this one up. But one time in the early 90s, we had like a really bad week. We had my dad's pickup truck was stolen right out of our driveway, and our TV broke, and like I think the computer broke. Like nothing was going good, and my mom just like went down to the toy room and grabbed the Ouija board and just took it and put it in the yard. And like it's like someone come take this. We don't want this in the house. We don't need any more bad vibes.
Yeah. No, I get it. So Dewey, you said you had a scary one you were saving for last. I think if you're game for it, I think it's about that time.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, there's two. I'm gonna give you this one.
Okay, great.
This is the first ghost story that ever happened to my brother and I, and I was in 7th grade. And it was the late 90s, and my whole family was in Houston because my uncle was getting married. My brother and I were staying the night at my grandmother's house, which was a 100-year-old house kind of near the center of our town. And our family had occupied it for like since the 20s, and it was already old when they got it. And we slept in the living room that night, and my aunt slept in the back of the house upstairs, way on the other side of the house, because the three of us were going to go to the airport together in the morning. And so I slept on the floor, and my brother slept on the couch. And this is one of those old-fashioned East Coast houses where there's like a front hall. There's a front hall, and there's a staircase that you can see all the way. It's like an open staircase,
Yeah, no, I got you.
And all the rooms actually have sliding doors. Because back in the day, you would used to have Portuguese people and Irish people. We would have the wake and the funeral right in the house, like
right.
And so the room we were in is where the casket used to be. But not only that, my great grandfather had died in that living room on that floor. He had a stroke, and I came home from work one day and died right there. I never met him. That was in the 60s or the 70s, and he was a Portuguese immigrant, and he worked around the clock as a stationary fireman at a foundry at a factory that made metal, and he had a stroke and died instantly on the floor, watching pro wrestling with my grandpa with his son.
Oh yeah.
So, I definitely am a descendant of him. But my brother and I, we watched like a football game, and at the time we probably watched MTV. We shut the TV off and we're laying there, and I'll never forget because back in the 90s there was a liquor store. We used to call it a package store in Boston, and
we called it package stores in Wallingford, Connecticut as well.
Oh, okay, yeah, you know it. So it had this orange light, and it would buzz on and off all night. And it would fill the house with orange light and then go dark, go dark. And so my brother and I are laying there, and everything's fine. Everything's peaceful. Nothing weird's going on. Though, because we had ghost stories there before, but we were never really spooked out when we were downstairs during the day. It was upstairs at night. You didn't really want to go. But
Sure.
like something starts coming down the staircase and it's creaking. Like, you know, at the rate and pace of that an old man would walk.
No.
And so we were like, we look because we were like, it's grandpa. But our grandpa was in Houston. He wasn't there. So the stairs are creaking and something's coming down, moving like an old man.
No.
Same pace.
No thanks.
And we know that sound because my grandpa, you know, we heard him every day. We were there every day, and we look at the stairs, and there was a dark, cylindrical figure.
No.
Like a shadow, purplish, blackish.
Do we know?
And it comes down the stairs. It wraps around the banister, like comes around the corner, and then it gets into that front hallway, and disappears.
What the fuck?
I got total chills. And I said to my brother, it was just like the thing that happened 20 years later in Newport Beach. I was like, hey, did you see that?
Jesus.
He was like, yeah. Did you see it? I was like, yes. I was like, what should we do? He's like, just go to bed. And we just went to bed. And in fact, that was the last time I ever slept in that house.
Man.
And I had probably slept there at least a few times a month my whole life, you know?
Oh man!
So you've never stayed there since?
No, and then we the family, you know, my aunt sold it, and no one people live there now, but no one we know. So I would like to go back someday. You know, we love that house, and I had been in it. I had been in it a million times after. I just never slept there again.
Man, oh man. Well, Eric, add it to the ghost hunting list. We'll reach out to the owners. We'll see if we can.
Dude, yeah, I'm throwing it up. We have so many. This episode alone generated so many leads. We're nearing the end, and we haven't even touched on the time that you met what we can only presume is Chris Farley's ghost. Dude.
Oh, yeah,
that sounds like a great one to end on.
That's a fun one.
That is the craziest friggin' story. We didn't even start talking about positive thinking and affirmation. I mean,
Dewey, you just have an open invite on the show.
Anytime, if you want to just kick it over, host it. We'll be your interns, man.
Sometimes I'm like, why am I chasing comedy? I should just be a ghost story guy.
You were talking about that the other day. I was like, you should just be a medium, and you're like, it'll just ruin my life.
Yeah, that's great. That's what I need. All right, so the Chris Farley story. He's a hero of mine. He's a fine actor and a comedian, and if you're our age, he was absolutely perfect, you know. And so I had always wanted to, and kind of what gave me one of the final pushes to do comedy was I was at IO in Chicago, and I saw all the headshots of students on the wall. And everybody's had their headshot had their name except Chris. I was like, wow, he doesn't even need his name. But then and they were like gods, you know, huge comedy people. But then I was thinking like, holy shit, like Chris was a student here. Like if all you have to do is go and practice and try and you can do it. So that's why I got into like improv and stuff. But so when 5 years ago, I took this road trip and I was in a real tough place in my life. I had come out of a breakup and I didn't know really what the next steps were going to be, but I knew I had always wanted to do this road trip and I had planned it out before. And so my road trip, and I just needed a reason. And then it turns out one of my best friends was getting married in Idaho. That medium was there. And then the very next week, two other of my very good friends, they were getting married in Ohio. So it was this perfect thing where I had 2 weeks vacation. And I'll take a road trip to Idaho, and I went golfing and hiking and whitewater rafting and hung out with my friends, and then did the wedding on a cattle ranch and stuff. And then I drove to Ohio, and on the Ohio trip I did alone. I had no one in my car, and I did the Badlands and Mount Rushmore and all this stuff. And one of the things I wanted to do was go to pay my respects to the great Chris Farley. So.
What a pilgrimage.
Yeah. So he's interred in Madison, Wisconsin. And I had Googled the coordinates of his or like where it was. And it was at this Catholic cemetery. And it was kind of nuts because I showed up at this Catholic cemetery in the middle of this town I'd never been. And it looked familiar. It looked kind of like a Catholic cemetery you'd see in Massachusetts. And it was a beautiful sunny day. I had stopped at a Dunkin' Donuts on the way in to get some iced coffee. And I was like, I'm going to just go say a prayer. You know, this will be a sightseeing trip. I didn't think anything was going to, I didn't think twice about it. I was just going to go pay my respects and move on. I was driving to Chicago that day to stay with some friends. And I get to the cemetery and I can't find his gravestone. So that's when I Googled the exact coordinates. And then when I Googled the coordinates, a photo came up and it was a chapel. Okay, so he's in a chapel. All right, so I'm looking around and I see a little chapel on the cemetery, and it was a little squat round building with kind of a flat roof. In fact, in that documentary, I Am Chris Farley, the one his brother produced.
Yeah,
they interview his friend who was a priest. That's in that chapel. You can see it. They cut to it the whole time, which is nuts because I just went back, rewatched that. I was like, oh, I've been in that room.
Yeah, no shit.
That's crazy. That's a great documentary.
It's awesome. Yeah. And you can see what I'm in. You can go visualize it. And I walk in and beautiful. No one's in the cemetery. Madison's quiet. It's a gorgeous town. Birds are chirping. It's sunny. It was so picturesque. And I said, you know, I'm not really Catholic anymore. I grew up Catholic, but like, I'll say a prayer. You know, I should pay respects because I entered this hallowed ground, right? So I take a seat on the bench and I do, in the name of the Father, I'm whispering to myself, in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. I do I do my hands like a good Catholic boy, and I cross my hands. And then I started saying a prayer. And I got to I was like, dear God, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then I hear whack, 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 whack. And I'm like, what the heck? And someone hammered the roof. And it scared the heck out of me. Yeah. I didn't see anybody on that roof. It was a flat, you know, like, I don't know. It was weird. So I said, okay, someone's working on the roof or something. Just say your prayer again. I start from the beginning. Sign the cross. Name the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear God, I would like to pay. Boom, 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 boom. Oh my God, it happened again. So now I'm like, I'm terrified at this point. Because no one was hammering in between. It wasn't like some guys throwing up some new shingles. There was nothing going on in between. So, mind you, there was no scaffolding, no ladders, nothing. So I go, I'm going to say a prayer one more time. If this happens again, I'm going to the back. I'm going to pay my respects to Chris, and I'm out of here.
Yeah, man.
I get all set up. Name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Hail Mary. Full of whack, 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 whack.
Oh, it happens again. Shit.
So now I'm like laughing. It's funny to me. And I was like, this is so crazy. I can't even believe I'm here, but this is scary and funny. What am I doing? And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to go find where he has like the mausoleum in the back. So I just walk to the altar, and there's a room in the back. And there's sunlight's coming up, and there's like a couple walls stacked up where bodies are. And you look to the left, and there's Christopher Crosby Farley. There he is. And I had told a few friends that were huge fans too, comedians. I was like, and they gave me some stuff they wanted me to say. So I had a few notes. I had to say some stuff. And I said what I had to say, and I read what my friends wanted me to say. And then, man, I walked out. And I walked out, and as soon as I got out of that door, I just cried. I cried so hard. I cried like uncontrollably. That I hadn't ever cried like that. And I cried all the way to my little rented Mazda. And then I cried all the way to Chicago. And
wow.
And this is what the capper on that story was that I got to the wedding in Columbus, Ohio. And there's some improvers there, some LA comedy people and stuff. And there's this guy I know. I had seen him around, but we're just getting to know him really. And I'm talking to, hey man, what's going on? Where you coming from? Good to see you. He's like, I just came from Madison where my parents live. I was like, I just drove through Madison. Dude, I parked like in front of his parents' house. And he could have easily seen this little squat prime Portuguese band flying out, the street. If he was there at the time,
That's crazy.
Oh my God.
Man.
Dewey, why do you think you have all of these experiences? Like, what do you think draws the strange to you in the way that it does? Do you have any explanation?
I would like to think that it's nothing different than anybody, and I just happen to have this. Everyone has these experiences, and then it's not abnormal. I would like to say that, but I know the fact that I probably have more than most people I know.
You definitely
can't
do.
deny
You definitely do, dude.
Yeah, I can't deny it. And I don't know. Part of me wonders, like, if it's like old family history. Part of me wonders if it's growing up in the dead center of the Bridgewater Triangle. Part of me wonders.
You gotta show us around there sometime.
I'm Azorian, and like the Azorian people are believe in spirits, and so do that. Like they're not like, oh, like that's like, oh, that's Suzanne, like just leave her alone, she wants some more soup. Like it's not a big deal in a way. So I think part of it is that you grow up in like in this kind of strange Portuguese Catholicism where spirituality is part of it. It's baked in,
Yeah. Dewey, those were some absolutely incredible stories. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing them with us. Open invite. Please join us again anytime. Dewey, where can people find you on the internet?
Just on Instagram at It's Uncle Dewey, ITS_Uncle _Dewey. And then my website, DeweyMorrison.com, has like my upcoming dates where you can see me do improv, and it has some short films on there and stuff.
It's all fantastic stuff. We'll have some of those links available in the description. Thank you again for joining us. Eric, do you mind if I get us out of here?
Yeah, do it. Go for it, man.
Beautiful. That's going to wrap up this broadcast for the night. Remember, you can tune in live Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/Goblin Voice, or find us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. We want to thank Purple Planet and Carl Kasey at White Bat Audio for the use of their music. Do you want to get in touch with us? Join our Discord channel. Follow us on Twitter at Brian and Eric Pod. Visit our blog at briananderic.show, or email us at spookybriananderic@gmail.com. For both of us here at Brian and Eric Don't Belong Here, thank you for listening. Stay safe out there.
Good night, everybody.